You say Marcia, it is already online.
She said she was gonna go in on my house. You're yelling, she did.
She all the way to home.
And Jesse will be here.
Scientists. We should have done this. Computer and takes their cars. Just take care of it anyways. He wants his to get all banged up.
What's up?
You hear from a lot?
He's on a flight right now. He was leaving Dallas an hour ago.
Yeah, maybe.
To here? You're going, like, in the sun, but
We had 70 kids show up today
oh my God.
in that mess.
They didn't cancel before they came.
And then what she said, we can't cancel again. I'm like, well, we can.
We can actually.
Yeah.
They only paid $20 for the whole summer. Yeah, canceled as we want.
At the airport.
They just did like last term, there's been a stupid putting game. So
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Wait, said something else.
You get that? Did you get that cart path looked at on 13 yet? I was
About every
This
day.
stuff has been running through.
Yeah, I look at it every day. We're actually gonna, if it's, well, planning on starting, if it's dry enough, do some more digging before the end of the week, shut it down, and got Brett from, Park Construction coming out to cut the concrete out that I need cut out.
What you're missing with that is a possibility, put a drain through there so you can actually control that with drains.
Probably could, wouldn't take that much.
I was gonna suggest.
I mean, there's gonna be a pipe in there.
Hey, Reggie.
There's gonna be a drain, I mean, but not a, you mean like with a valve to open it up?
Yeah.
Oh.
You could use it for irrigation then.
Yeah. You know, pond doesn't hold much water, but you never
Every little
know.
bit helps.
Yeah.
That's. Well, Alexander, glad to meet you.
Randy Davis, good to meet you. How you doing?
Already.
Is that floor open off today? Do you have a panic attack?
Yeah, I was struggling with the one last month. They locked me out.
Sure you don't want anything, anybody else in your dream?
Good.
Okay. Okay.
Just see, I got a compliment earlier today about, how Will Mac, when someone played the other day, so,
Well, there's a guy right there.
yeah. So,
Thank you. That's good. Yeah, things are going pretty good. Got a lot of trees cleaned up right now, but that's anytime the wind blows here.
The person that really thick glasses is buying too.
no, they weren't wearing glasses, so I don't know if that was part of the problem, but.
After with the Corn Ferry tour here,
They might have to move it here after today.
right? Exactly.
I took Jack home and yes, it was gonna be hard to sit on 17. Wouldn't be able to sit there tomorrow, that's for sure. I got a picture this morning, 18, the deal behind there. It's, I mean, the deck's still there, but everything else is crashed in and
Wow.
the seating behind 18 green and
Man.
17 looked pretty tore up. Then there's
Randy. Randy's on his way, yeah. No more.
trees down everywhere. But I can see, I saw a bunch of golf carts, so what the heck's that? There's a bunch of members out there helping clean stuff up. Says online, they're still planning on starting a tournament Thursday, but you don't know what might happen tonight.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
We're at level 4. Yeah. I think tomorrow will be the pro-am, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they raise a lot of their funds for the charities.
With that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That cost you per foot to put that concrete.
GPS signal lost.
Out here.
Is that me?
Okay.
I think it's their system in here.
Tax,
That's sweet.
what you anticipated.
Yeah, the new concrete you guys put in here out back looks pretty good.
It'd be nice to get those bats moved up away from the garage.
Mm-hmm.
Just right now. Not really all for us, for people behind.
Yeah.
Hit by backswings.
Looking at, I wanted to do the same thing with this, but the concrete's got a cure for 28 days.
That's what Corey was telling me.
That's
That
great.
surprised me.
They said it's just because they're gonna put adhesive on top. But
Oh.
That's what,
That's what it is, adhesive.
Okay, but that sounds strange.
you know, kids.
Yeah, that's what I don't. I was thinking maybe like they were waiting to see if it was gonna crack or something, you know?
Yeah.
But so everybody knows we're waiting. Marcia should be online and Jesse should be pulling in. He got stuff in the call. He said he's on his way. He's 10 minutes ago. Whether it's coming in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's moving in pretty fast. That fast.
Well, if we need to, the restrooms are where we go. Concrete lids on both of them, so we crammed in there, but
I don't mind it taking me out. I just don't want to take my car out.
No different than being in the meat cooler at Dillon's.
I just want my car to live on.
Yeah.
Hey there.
There, Jesse.
Hey, guys.
So there's my name tag and if you don't mind, come over here.
Okay, no problem.
Good, how are you? Okay.
All right, now having a forum, we'll call the meeting order. First off, public comments. For that, I want to thank First Steve for inviting us here. I appreciate it. First time I've ever been in the building, I watched it go up and went by on 3, but that's as far as it ever went, so. Congratulations, it's a heck of a looking facility.
Thank you.
So, I know that wasn't public, but I'm public too. Any announcements?
Anybody else have anything? Mainly some updates, and I do want to thank Trick and Corey for allowing us to be here. I want to give them a minute during this section to kind of give you an update on some of their programming, but real quick, a couple of things, updates. We did host the Corn Ferry qualifier yesterday. It went really well. Kudos to Michael, Tim, and all the staff over there getting the course ready and hosting that. Got some really good feedback from both the players and the crew from the PGA. Working on Ladies' Day event on September 20th, working with Marcia to put together a committee of ladies to help kind of determine the format of what that day could look like. We had a great day last year. It's a big success, but I think we can make it better. So I want to form this little committee of the ladies to help with their input and planning so we can make it bigger and better this year. So excited. I think we're going to try to meet next week for the first meeting. So excited to get that started. Update on the junior tour. I think I told you last time, we've got record numbers that aren't even close to what we've had in the past on junior tour. We cut it off close to 100. We would have had probably 150 if we would have kept allowing kids in, but we just don't have that much tee times. But our third tournament, we had an off week this past week. Our third event will be at Sim this Sunday. And I sent out the email yesterday to let me know if they're going to play. And I think almost every kid is going to be at Sim this week. So we're going to have 80 something kids out there playing on Sunday. It should be pretty good. You mentioned the concrete at Auburn Hills. It's poured. We have to let it cure for 28 days. So they said they want to make sure it's good and dry. I don't know how the rain affects that. I have no, it's not been dry for 2 seconds since they poured it, but hopefully by the end of the month, they'll be able to put the carpet or the kickabout turf and the mats on, and that will be up and going. So we'll be able to use those hopefully around the 1st of July. We are working on getting the RFP for for potentially a new POS system. I really have wanted to do this, and we've had holdups and issues with IT and different policies and contracts in place that's held us up, but I think we're good to go. So we're working on getting the RFP prepared to shop around for a new point of sale system. You understand our struggle there. So I'm hoping to get that out by August, and then the process will take 3 months probably. But that way if we do implement a new system, we can have it in place by the golf season next year. Irrigation update at MAC. We have All right, Sim, it's done. They flipped it over. We're completely done with that project. We haven't had to use it, but it's ready to go. We have tested it at least. And then, here at Mac, we just Ron met with the architect today to go through the final. He did the initial plan. We've tweaked it a couple times, went through some hole by hole sessions with him. And I think we're pretty finalized on the plan. So now we'll start working on the RFP to get it going. The good news is of course, we have $2 million budgeted for this course, and that was kind of educated shot in the dark, and he thinks that's a very safe number. So, based on the final design that we're going to bid out, I think we're going to be right where we need to be on that. So happy that we're still in the budget there. Yeah, here. So, a couple of things. The next meeting, I've got two items that, I'm going to present. One, I want to revisit the 5-year plan that we have, our capital improvement 5-year plans. We haven't really done that this year, so I'm going to get it cleaned up, update everything that's been done, and to kind of go through that again so we can keep it up to date. That's a good tool for me to have, obviously for operations, but also when council asks if we're trying to do something, we can show them that we're not just throwing darts. Do have a plan. So I want to make sure and keep that up to date. The other item would be, we've talked about staffing and pay and all this. I'm working on a staffing restructure completely for golf. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but I've talked with Reggie, I've talked with the head of finance, I've talked with HR and basically even council members, and basically they said present a plan to go over exactly what the staffing you think it should look like for golf, what the risk, what the benefits, both from budget side, from the customer service side. Just it's going to be a long document. I'm going to have that prepared for the next board meeting so we can go over it. I will need your approval, and then what I want to do from there is just present it. And they may say, no, this is impossible, but I'm going to keep trying until we can get staffing where we all feel it should be. We've been talking about that for 2 years, and we've made little steps, but we're too busy to not be able to hire people, not be able to keep people, and have enough positions available. So I'm going to put a lot of work into that in the next few weeks, and we can vote on or look at that. We get next month, and then hopefully I can get some traction there. So, and then the final thing, it's kind of a cool deal. We had the Golfer Appreciation Day at Auburn. Wichita Marine Company was there, and we talking through the deal, and actually, or he kind of had a part of this, but started talking to the guy and had to come up with the idea to develop a beer that's specific to the 4 municipal golf courses. So we would design the can, we would design the name, or probably the name, the taste, everything. It's going to be tough, but after hours, we're going to work on the day. But it would be neat. It would only be available at the 4 courses. We could put pictures of golf holes on there, whatever we want. So it's going to be a fun project. I think I've never heard of a golf course doing that. I think that's a pretty cool idea to partner with them and build it with that. So we'll see. We're actually going to meet with them on Thursday and kind of lay out next day. I've worked with legal. They said we're good as long as we don't put our actual name on it. So we'll come up with a cool name, but we can't put our picture of a hole or whatever on there. So I think it's pretty neat. Pretty excited about that. So I want to let Trent speak for a second. Anybody have anything else?
I just had some questions. Same Park, if we're closed out, what's the final tally, or do we know?
Cost?
Yeah.
It's right on
No, 1.5?
it's 1,469 plus. So the
Base bid was 1,450, I think.
yeah, it's like 147. We added 7 heads to the original design. So we're under, we had 1.5 set aside for this. So we came in just under budget for that. Yeah.
Also like the job they did.
Very, very happy with that company.
If everybody had got that completed project, I will say that they did a tremendous job. I mean, there really wasn't much disruption and not much damage to the course. It's already coming back pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Trent,
Yeah,
mind,
I'll be short. Thanks for coming today. If you didn't have a chance to walk around, feel free, after we wrap up, we can walk you through the spaces, do a tour. We got in here, middle of March, did our grand opening during your May meeting, I think. But we're excited to host you today. In the program for the year, we're at 550 individually registered kids already for the year. We were at 586 for all of 2024, so we're expecting to blow that out of the water. We haven't started registrations for fall or winter programs yet. Summer programs were right over 450, I believe, Corey. Does that sound right? And then there's probably 20 to 30, 20 to 40 more names from the Boys and Girls Clubs that will be added to that number before the end of the summer. So off to a great start. Facility's been awesome so far. The expansion of the mats outside has helped a lot with the demand on the range. And we'll hopefully get those moved up here in the next month or so, create a little more space between the garage door and the mats for people walking behind. And then Ron and Jesse and I are in contact. We'll finish the sod across that range. Hopefully here sooner rather than later. Yeah, everything's going well. Excited to have you guys here. Happy to answer any questions if there are any right now. Otherwise, happy to walk you around afterwards.
And one, is there gonna be a posting when your classes available or when you're hosting the kids for anything so that we know at the pros out when somebody comes in to hit balls, they know whether it's open.
Should be up. Yeah, Collins had that.
It's on the counter up there.
On the counter, we posted on Facebook.
Okay,
Yeah, trying to put it up.
just had some comments from guys.
No.
Oh, I didn't know they were blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Which you get. I mean, it's no matter what, they're like me, they didn't read the time.
Put a billboard out there. It's still missing.
And it'll change when their program changes month to month, so someone that's used to what it is in June, it may change it to
Yeah.
July, so we.
You know, all this, a lot of this. And so,
Is it on the app?
On the website.
Yeah,
Without the app?
yeah, it's on.
The app just says open air close. There's no specific time. Yeah.
Yeah, and the ones that we have on the website have a combination of what we use or when we close it and they close it so that everything is on there. Because we have junior golf and then obviously some of it's first tee, some of it's when we have to close it. So
Yeah, there's also a sign on the actual range ball machine that goes over our hours. And then we also have a sign here for when the garage doors close, when customers can't see that. So
okay,
there's definitely a lot of signage out there, but like you said, there's still, some customers that are either new to the city or the facility that still come up and we're unaware that don't stop in the pro shop to see the hours.
The other day I seen a sign on the
The street.
street. And
Yes.
that helped a lot.
Yes, we put those out.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to put one on each entrance
Okay.
and then one on the sidewalk as customers walk up.
That way they don't get out of their car and unload their clubs, walk all the way out and find a closed garage door.
the opening tee time is that, the opening of the facility, is that posted? That's also posted, soon then. That was another comment. I've had some people drive by and they said it was locked up. And nobody-
So the indoor facility isn't open to general public, just outdoor.
Well, this is
So-
just to hit balls. Before
mean
they
the-
went out to
You mean the
play.
gates or?
Yeah.
Oh, the gate, sorry, I thought you meant the.
No,
if the gates are closed, that means we have programming first thing in the morning. So we don't open it. A lot of times that's for junior golf because they do open the gates for first tee so that people can pull in and stuff. But we do leave it closed on Monday and Tuesday morning when junior golf is here so that they don't drive in.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, this comments I get.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of demand for the range, so I get it. There's a lot of.
Yeah, we get a ton of demand and if any ideas that, other than signage that you folks may think of that we could do better for that, please let us know. We'd be happy to, because there's nothing worse than having to talk to somebody that's pretty upset on hitting some golf balls. We have, well, it's not been a lot of tough conversation.
Yeah.
I bet that would be.
Yeah. So anything that you guys could think of that we're not doing, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah. The other comment I got was your reorganization. I know this is a sticky question. How much of that interaction do we still have to have if you were able to do anything in there in terms of getting potential employees through personnel?
For temporary,
Say that out the part, it takes us a month to get somebody on now and
Yeah.
lose half the guys you try.
When we're desperate, we've tried to use them and we have problems getting through them too.
No, I just mean overall, we get people into it.
Oh,
Yeah, let's go to work.
the
A month
process.
later, you can't get them
I
on.
mean, that process is beyond our.
I didn't know
Yeah.
in the reorganization or some way.
There's, I mean, the city has their process for hiring somebody that I won't be able to change.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
A lot of it's just, we're planning for it now. So like when, everybody leaves second week of August. So we're planning, we're gonna probably hire people second week of July so that we make sure when everyone leaves for college students and teachers, that we have those people in place.
Oh, that. Criminal, I would be a hero. But another thing that hurts, we hire a lot of people at the same time every other department hires. And so it's like it's a season where every department's trying to hire everybody at one time. So they're the HR, those folks have so much coming at them that they're trying. And they go through them as quick as they can, but there are processes that have to be done.
Well, that being said, we will move on and I will suggest, unless everybody read the minutes last month. If so, I would entertain a motion to accept last month's minutes, excuse me.
I moved that we accept the minute from last month.
Second, Betsy? Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
No.
She raised her hand.
Motion carries. What is it, 6-0?
Are those the same ones there?
On the next part, if we could, I don't know, Reggie, if we can change the order if you want to. I had you down after a bunch of stuff. You're welcome to. I don't know if you want to change, if you want to kind of.
No, I'm fine. I'll
Okay,
go ahead.
okay. Okay.
All right, then. Update. I think I got theirs on.
Yeah, you should have received a copy of the financials. This is through the end of May, which is not including anything, this month. So we'll look at the financials in just a second. I'll kind of go through what's on the screen here, just kind of around the report. Again, as you remember, in January and February, we basically had zero business. Weren't open the whole time, so we're behind on rounds. Due to that, we're not going to make up rounds. There's nowhere else to put the people compared to what we did last year. We'll make them up a little bit. We're not going to catch up completely. Not too concerned about that. If you look at May by itself, we did do nearly 2,000 more rounds than last May. A total of 22,636 rounds. It's a lot of golf. Getting played over 4 courses. Year-to-date cart rentals, we've been behind all year because of the slow start, but we surpassed where we were at last year. So we're $20,000 more on cart rentals now than we were at this point last year. So in all the categories that we were behind because of those first 2 months, we've caught up and moved ahead of the mark we were at last year. So even on food and beverage, we were I think it was $22,000 or $23,000 behind last year at our last meeting, and we have caught up and passed. We're almost dead even, just maybe $1,000 ahead of where we're at last year. So May was a really good month in food and beverage with a lot of the new stuff that we're offering. That means we beat last May by more than $23,000. So happy with that, and kudos to whoever and all the things that we're trying to get done.
Is there anything we might contribute to extra cart? I mean, basically, carts, that's based on rounds played, so if your rounds are down, obviously your cart should be down, but you're up instead. It's kind of an anomaly, isn't it?
When people tell me they're walking, we say no. No, I mean, at this point last year, we had already done the increase, so
Yeah, there's.
more people using carts. I don't know. Especially we've been cart path only more this year, so I would think they would be down, but they were definitely up in May, which really the main part of the rain came at the very end of the month and all the way through here. So I've looked at that. I don't really have an answer. I don't know, but
When did we do the increase?
Oh, that's been a year and a half ago.
yeah, it was more than it would have been. I don't remember, early last year. I think it was even late in 23.
After the last time, adjustments that we made, we didn't adjust anything on the cars.
Right. Year-to-date driving range, we're up $6,000. So if we had more space, we'd be up $200,000. Auburn, I mentioned it last time, it's 100 yards end to end, and there's times, several times where there's people waiting for a spot to open up. It's driving range is doing very well. The problem is the wear and tear that they take. And then merchandise sales, we were doing the fire sale at Auburn last year, so those numbers are a little bit off from like, we were at 80,000 last year. That's because we were just trying to get that merchandise out and make room for Michael at that point, whoever was about to show up. So, all in all, the other courses, everybody pretty steady, especially for not having January and February, no people in the building. So not too concerned about that. Okay. Total revenue, looking at year to date first, we are up now 21,000 over last year. If you look at May alone, $895,770. That's the biggest month the Doctor Division has ever had. I think 804 was the next biggest month prior to that. So we not only did we break the record, we beat it by almost $100,000. I feel like I made this comment in park board. Everything we had planned on happening at this point last year, before winter kill, before cyber attack, before all the other stuff that happened, this is what we expected to be at last year. The courses are all in good shape right now. We've got everything that F&B's going on. We've got a lot of things that are just, it seems like all the different areas of the business are starting to really come together and gain momentum. So this is hopefully where we're at going forward. And with memberships, I know we did the membership increase. Most of that, there's only, I think we only like 8,000 more in membership dollars than what we had last year. So a lot of that's not just because we're raising, it's all the other things. So kudos to staff and all the chaos that they're dealing with every day. Okay. With our projects, haven't done a whole lot. So we still got right at 840,000 in the general fund, or the general project fund. The cart fund is maintaining exactly like we hope. The equipment fund is just shy of 100,000, and we have bought some equipment that, you know, as you know, those, the top two, the cart and the equipment, every green fee and every cart rental goes into that. So they do a adjustment each month to transfer that money. So those are self-sustaining and continue to increase. Clubhouse fund, we still about 41,000 left there. We're looking at, we have replaced 2 HVAC units this year. We're looking at new blinds at Auburn that are probably between 2,000 and 3,000 to do that entire building, but they're in desperate need of it. And then potentially carpet at Auburn. That carpet's, it's wore out. So looking at those 2 items potentially. Grounds fund, we're down to 12,000 after we did the project at Auburn on the driving range. That's why I think that was at 40,000 prior to this. So altogether, it's 1.8 million. And then if you look at the financials that you have here, we are now, if you look at the bottom line, the actuals were at 1.25 million. Last year at this time, we were up 1.27. So our labor has went up a little bit, but we actually have staff this year. Last year we had nobody. So we actually have staff, services better, and we're still keeping up. Our revenue for the year, about the middle of the page, we're at 2.24. Last year at this point, we're at 2.16. So we are about 80,000 higher in revenue this year than what we were last year. Financial. So, and again, you consider that we did not have January and February events, but we did last year. So if you look at March through May, we would be killing last year. And that, I see that continuing through the summer and through the fall. So I'm very optimistic of where we're going to end up this year. Last year, we were just shy of 1.8 at the end of the year. This year, I'm really hoping to get closer to that $2 million mark, which would scrape an extra $1 million into our project. Okay, so I don't think this, I don't know if anybody had a chance to look at it, but if there are any questions or anything I can answer, we'd glad to do so.
As we go through the projects, I know this is coming up. On some of this, we had originally discussed $400,000 starting put into the fund to CIP money we need to pay back.
with the irrigation.
Are we still looking up being able to do that?
Yeah, I think so. I'd still like to do that. I still want to get a little bit deeper into the year. When,
I mean, it doesn't have to be 400,000, but
right.
get something into there. So it looks like we're playing in good faith.
Essentially, that's the golf fund portion of SIM. So I would like to go ahead. That's the reason 400,000. That's the reason I would like to do 400,000. That would be the portion of that that would need to come from the golf fund. I would like to go ahead and knock that out. And we're, unless catastrophe happens, we're in a good path to be able to do that. I just want to get a little bit farther down the road before we, load the wagon and don't have bullets. So
I just want to make sure we can show good faith and is that we've got McDonald already in CIP. We know that we're going ahead with it, but the other two courses still need to be voted on. So.
and then, the funding has to be approved. So, right. Or what's the terminology for that? It's a project's been approved, but they have to release the funding or however you say it. So, I mean, obviously we can get ahead on our payments. It's going to help them make that decision, go ahead and improve and move forward.
Any other comments? Okay, that being going, we'll do a continuation with fire business versus all the fairways, $50 a week. I put it on there again. Okay.
Auburn Fairways, when I made this agenda, we got big plans and this weather has stopped all of that. So two things with the Auburn Fairways that we were planning on doing. One, we have the contractor that's going to do the aerification. He's going to deep down the fairways. Two things happened there. One, his main piece of equipment broke down. He overnighted the part of getting it fixed. That was going to delay him a couple of days, which turns out it didn't matter because the rain is delaying him more than that. So we'll see what happens tonight, but he should be good to get started as soon as it's dry. This machine should be back up and going. So I'll go back to that in a second. The other thing we were going to do was sod number 18 fairway. They were going to cut 18 out today, have the sod delivered tomorrow. 3 inches of rain with another 25 inches tonight, probably, whatever. So who knows when that's going to happen. I'm a little bit concerned with the sod that's at the farm right now, because it has, Zoysia is not, you can speak to this more than I can, but Zoysia is not great being underwater. And I think it's been under a lot of water in the last few weeks. So the last thing I want to do right now, it's got rye in it. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but there's grass on that fairway for the first time in a long time. The last thing I want to do is rip that out and then put sod doesn't take. We're going to look like idiots if we do that. So we've got some decision to make. I would like to go and put eyes on that sod. Take Dalton, take Ron, whoever, somebody and look at it and make that decision. But I don't know. We got to have weather before. Obviously, that's going to be a big project. And Michael and I were talking, and Dalton were talking during that project. We're going to make 18 a par 3, so we'll make a temporary MC box somewhere in the rough, move it around every few days. But that way, we're not playing 17 holes. We can at least give them a par 3 to play while we're doing the work and while that sod is taking. So it'll be a few weeks of inconvenience to everybody, but at least we've got a plan to have 18 holes open in some fashion. So, my hope was today to be able to come in here and tell you this is what, we've got it ready for tomorrow morning, but we're nowhere. I don't know. I don't really have an update. It all depends on the weather and what that sod looks like. But as soon as the fairways are dry enough, he should be able to start on the aerification, and he's going to do a few holes every day for a couple of weeks. So there'll be a little disruption. It's not going to take him long, but there'll be a little disruption, and that the hardest part is going to be for Michael and the staff in the clubhouse to communicate that with staff as he's on number 12. They're going to have to modify that hole, and then as soon as he's done, he'll go to 13. Well, then we're going to have to, it's not just going to be today number 12 is closed. It's going to be today at some point 12 will be closed, some point 13, some point 14. So, or however he does it, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I think everyone's just going to be happy to see us doing things. So.
It won't be something that they haven't ever seen before, right? And that's common practice.
Right. And it's, you have to do it this time of year. So, with Auburn Fairway, that's all enough.
And you'd think the success with Texas Fairways, some sort of sense of calm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was.
It turned out pleasingly well.
Right.
It built a little bit of trust.
Yeah.
So going back to the throwaways, I almost forgot. I mean, Sims is coming out, they've obviously got some spots that they could use some sprigging in. Still interested in renting that sprigger and doing that, or is that?
Yeah, we obviously knew we needed working irrigation completely, so we were kind of waiting to that, and then we've had rain, so yeah, it's definitely. Talked to Darren, that's something he's identified all the spots, he's got them mapped out, we just gotta.
Okay.
Can't go. This weather's really kind of messed up some plans, but, there's still plans.
Are you still anticipating stealing sprigs out there, or did you think bringing in sprigs?
I think, ultimately, I'd like to bring in spring, I think we've got enough.
Be less disruption.
Yeah, less disruption, we can find there. If we haven't seen, I'd like to go ahead and go. Bring sprigs instead of breaking them out of the course, I'd rather.
Okay,
Of course.
have them look into it and see what kind of sprigs they want, whether they want to go back with mid iron, which is what originally was a sprig tube back in the eighties. If you do that, you probably have to go south to get sprigs, so somebody need to look and see.
Yeah, excuse me. I'm sure Darren has looked into that. I just don't have that. So, need to communicate with him. Okay.
All right, back on McDonald Park bunker.
All right, Ron, do you want to look at this or anything? So I'll give a little background.
Okay.
Specific. Obviously here, we've talked about this for a couple of years now, is doing a bunker renovation. It would be eliminating several of the bunkers that, are just in my opinion, a lot of them are in places they just don't need a bunker, or a lot of maintenance, it slows pace of play, a lot of different reasons. So eliminating, several bunkers and then redoing the existing bunkers. The biggest problem we have right now, the drainage in the bunkers is terrible. You can go out here right now after this rain and they're all on. I mean, they're full of water. So he's got a machine to pump, but when it rains and you've got 69, how many bunkers are here? 60. 60. You got 60 bunkers, that takes a while. So, we are looking at the Better Billy bunker system. If you're not familiar with that, it's essentially a drainage system. It's more to it, but a drainage system to help the bunkers, stay good the way they should be. So, we've been working with, Todd Clark out of Kansas City, where he's at, and he's kind of drawn up a plan. We've looked at that plan, kind of tweaked it and got it where we want it. So the next step would be discuss it in this room or with this board, and then, you guys approve or okay and approve, then we would go to RFP. Well, I'd have to get approval for all my places, and then we go to RFP. We're looking to do it completely right. We're looking at about $200,000 project. But that would be the complete, all the bunkers would be completely reworked, some would be moved, new drainage, the sports is really looking good right now. And the thing is, it needs to be done desperately. If we wait, we're gonna put a new irrigation system in, and then we're gonna be working around that. I would like to work the two together, in some form or fashion, so that we're not redoing work that we just did either way. So, we called him today and we were talking about kind of walking through that. So Ron, I'll let you kind of go through the details. Okay.
So, well, basically last year we had he drew up a master plan and we kind of got put on the back burner for a little bit, but, basically the concept and what I asked him to do and all the bunkers, and right now, a lot of them have the big flash up face. So the bunkers, he will design them all to where they have a turf gently sloping down, and then the sand would just be in the bottom. And one of the advantages of that, you're not going to have the washout of the sand on the face, which creates a lot of maintenance issues. And that's the main thing. And the drainage system, it's if you don't know what it is, it's basically they use a type of a gravel. It'll probably be spec'd. It's like a chipped limestone. And then and it'll be all new drainage in it, drainage running out. And this chip limestone, it's treated with a polymer that sets up. So it's like a plastic bottom almost that the sand's on. So the sand will not wash out and move, but yet the water drains right through it. So it's not like a solid plastic, I guess. It's a port. it makes it porous and then the gravel doesn't move. So, but that's the system. We had looked at, like you said, there's some of the bunkers here that are, I mean, I played out here one time last year and hacked around to about 109 and I never even hit in one of the bunkers. So it's like a lot of the places the bunkers are 10 yards, 15 yards from the green, and they penalize they're not a challenge to the good golfer and they penalize the people that miss the green by 15 yards. So, which those people don't need penalized. So, part of the plan, and a lot of it is too, where there'll be like two bunkers side by side that will be rebuilt. So there's just one. So that reduces the amount of edging area that has to be maintained and stuff. So the big thing is it would just be, I mean, like if we had an event here tomorrow, those bunkers would be all dry. So I mean, it would make a huge difference on the course overall.
So we're getting a ton of compliments on this course everywhere I go right now, but the one thing people say, the course is great, but when are you gonna address those bunkers? I mean, it's kind of, they're just, a lot of the drainage is crushed underneath there, it doesn't drain at all. I came out here the other day and it was still misting a little bit. I saw water shooting a million miles in the air. I thought you had the sprinklers on. Was he done? But he was pumping water out of a bunker. So he's doing that all day. So yeah, I think, we want to reinvest in the golf courses. And I think here, that's definitely the one thing that we need to address. Their bunkers need to be redone every few years or, really worked over and they haven't been, nothing's been done in years. So I don't know, I'll kind of open it up if you guys don't mind. Just give me your input, your thoughts on this. And
I mean, from personal experience, the bunker renovation at Teradyne made worlds of difference. I mean, of course, it'd have to be shut down for a day after a rain like this, just because it wouldn't drain. So I get you there. And then question would be, what's course disruption look like when that project's going on?
right.
Do you guys know?
It would be, well, they would just be working on one hole at a
One
time.
hole at a time.
Yeah, they would. So it'd be the same kind of deal. We could,
Yeah.
So we would like maybe put a temporary green out, whatever, 30, 40 yards in front, then by whenever the crew's out of here at whatever time they would be out, 4 or 5 in the afternoon, then it could be moved back to the green. So,
Robert, I know
so
you play, you're probably the close to everybody in this group, and as a representative here, you probably hear people talk about the bunkers, knowing it's you.
Oh, yeah. Like I say, I'm all in favor for it. You're right, the drainage is the main problem, even after a couple of days, the water's still standing, and then, of course, all the silt then settles into the sand, and then when it does drought, you got concrete. But yeah, I'm all in favor of getting something done about those.
yeah, that's another point. The way they're constructed with the big slope faces, every time they wash out, there's more silt in the sand, more silt in the sand, and it just becomes you almost have to, once a year, take all the sand out and put fresh sand in,
Yeah.
which would be very, very labor intensive.
One's in favor of it. I think the first step would be getting approval to proceed forward, from this group. And then from there, there's several things I have to do in the back end. I'll be working with Reggie on this. And, but I know the first question I'm going to get asked is, did the golf work for this? So I think that would be the first step. And then, or if there's anything else you guys want to see before we do that, we're glad to do that also. So,
Said roughly 200.
That being the case, we're looking to having to reduce them while we put back CIP.
are we doing now?
Do we have to reduce the number for CIP?
I mean, we're obviously, I think we're gonna have between $800 and $1 million at the end of the year. But if we have $1 million, take the cart fee out, we have $1 million there right now.
We still have that looming lake problem that we've got persistently staring us right in the face. And the last time you got an estimate on that, that was 400,000, wasn't
Yeah.
What?
it?
Lake,
I mean, on like,
expanding the lake.
expanding the lake. Yeah, well, that's what it was estimated by, it's an engineer from Stormwater with the city, yeah.
Does that include moving the soil off or pushing it out?
That,
Some mounds.
Originally, they were talking, that was moving the soil out, hauling and soil out, so that would be, well, yeah, that's the most expensive thing, yeah. So,
Something that's disruptive.
yeah,
But still, I'm,
Yeah.
don't want to throw wet blankets on anything, but I
Yeah.
think water is gonna be the biggest critical thing in
oh, yeah,
the future, and it's just gonna get less and less, and
more and more expensive when we have to
I
buy it.
noticed that,
Yeah.
the vice mayor was in a little comment on the radio the other day, said, what is that, phase two will remain for the remainder of the year. And obviously, the water that we got running through here is running right on through now. We can't, our capacities
Yeah,
blow up, have been for all this, but I just think, I hate to harp on it, water will become more and more critical in the years ahead. So,
mhm. Yeah, it will be.
and, you know, as you get down in the council, which is fine, I think it's great, every council is always pushing the expansion, they want more and more people, more and more business, well, that's more and more water, and that's as you look for alternate sources, which they're already doing in terms of using gray water and reproducing off of that, which is, there's a lot. You know, you look at that in the sense of, my golly, you want to do that? Well, if they pump it into the river and somebody down the river uses it. What's the difference?
And actually, when, who was it, was a councilman, what was his name that introduced the, it's not McClendon,
Current council person?
yeah, that here last month was introducing to spend the money on the study of using gray water.
Is that Ohio?
Yeah, yeah. And I emailed him and we had a couple of emails back and forth and, you know, I said, that's very common in the golf business, you know, and I mean, it would be something that would take you know, it's gonna take a few years to get going, but, you know, they would just have to figure out the infrastructure and I know I talked to superintendent of Wichita Country Club. He said, man, if that was available, that'd be a no brainer because, you know, they're just total city water. So, I even had contacted guys with the parks maintenance forestry because I didn't know they no longer had it, but they had a 10,000 gallon water truck. And I was like, well, man, if we could make 10 trips from down there where you can get the water right now, put in the lake here, an extra 100,000 gallons in here would be, yeah, that would go a long ways to helping us. But anyway, they no longer have that truck, I guess, is what I was told. That was kind of off the wall idea, but
How they gonna get panic?
So they actually are working to have a line that they're actually tapping into that's there that fills up the area there with the tank that they have on site. So they're working with Public Works Engineer to have that done so they can water the grounds there on site.
Yeah.
So that's,
There's some pipes that
Yeah.
come through the golf course that come in from Halsted and around Cheney and all that, but I know that probably not pushing water, the raw water through that, but
one of the other things that we're looking at as we move forward, probably the biggest user of the water that we have is our swimming pools during the summertime frame.
yeah.
So looking at ways that we can capture some of that water and use for what we need as either at our golf courses or going out to water some of our vegetation throughout the park system or the city. So we did use some of it at one of the locations, and after it actually sits for a few days, it dissipates with the chemicals that's in it. So it could be used for some of that. So that may be something that we can look at using throughout the golf system as well to be able to reduce some of the water that we use. So we're looking for ways. I know Herman Hill is the other place where we have the gray water, then we're using some of that. But the big issue becomes, like you said, is how do we transport it?
yeah.
Has anybody looked at damming up a few places along the canal route and using that water? Every time it rains, I just see all that water just going right past it. So
And that is a bigger issue that we have to go to. The biggest part of that is the infrastructure for it. So the big investment that you have in the infrastructure, and then how long did it take for you to actually recoup those dollars long run? So that's where we have to look at how do we weigh out what the immediate upfront cost is and then long-term savings that we have with using it. So they're looking at ways, the water system is not getting any better. I mean, now, and the thing that goes along with it, even a lot of people say, we've gotten all the water we've had for the last month or so. How come we can't do more watering and things? It's based on a rolling average over 12 months. So it just doesn't, when it rises at one point, it has to do the entire 12-month average of seeing where it is at the lake level at Cheney before any of those changes with the water restrictions.
It seems like never really had a whole lot of cooperation in regards to getting some alternative funding, maybe from, stormwater or something like that, where you impound water, which then you put your water right back into the system. So, you know, they 8 million gallons impounded water that's that goes back into potable water that's available for the city to use. So, I don't know. It's,
And they have done some things where they're working with some of the contractors that are here, that they are getting them access where they can apply for it to go get some of the gray water at, over at Herman Hill. But it's on them to actually get it and transport it. So we don't incur that cost of trying to figure out how to get there. And they fill out a permit and they're able to use that water to go out. So that gives some relief on what the water system is for everyone else that's using
Yeah.
it. So they are looking at some alternative ways on how they can actually get more use of that water that's non-potable.
anytime you take potable water
Yeah.
and put it right back into the system, you're gaining water.
Yeah.
And
They did that a few years back with the Spirit plant.
Yeah.
For, about 500,000 gallons a day, I think they use. It's gray water now instead of potable water, so.
Yeah, fortunately, they were close and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they could get
Yeah.
it, so. This place is right smack dab in the middle of town, and it kind of created a little bit more.
Not to, kind of went off there, on back on the bunker.
Yeah.
Item here,
I was
sorry.
letting you off.
No, you're good. I need to,
So are you looking for a vote then?
I think the vote would be for me to pursue this project and see if it's something we can get approved and get put it on.
Derek, in regards to that, you're trying to get that done prior to irrigation, which we were looking at towards the end of this year, or?
I know today, like, we would need to move quickly, but we could do it close, yeah.
To me, if we're gonna do that way, it'd be, to get it prior so that we knew where the drains are going when they start
Right.
putting that system
Yeah.
in. 'Cause I'd hate to put it in and have to cut the drains.
Right.
I mean, it's.
Yeah.
So. Well, put a vote. Everybody in favor?
We need to.
I need a vote on that.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to improve the hand traps here at McDonald's.
For a project to improve sand traps at McDonald Park Golf Course.
Yes.
Do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
A second, for that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
We'll get to work.
This time you did something. Okay, did we pay the guy for the preliminary on that then, or is
Last year.
so that's already taken care of? Yeah. All right. Any further discussion on the prior business? No further, we'll go to new business, which is the introduction of Mr. Reg Davis. I met the gentleman one time, I think, up at the office when he first went in there as interim, and congratulations.
Thank you.
That's all.
Dark.
It's great to have you aboard.
Well, I'm excited a bit about being in the new role. And I tell all the time that when we went to the interview process and I was on the panel and when Jesse came in, I said, that's our guy. And I think that he's done a great job and with the team we have here and moving us in the right direction. And the best way to be able to get things that we want is continue to have success. And I think we've done that. And with anything that we bring forward that we want to have done to make improvements to the courses, the first thing they say is, do we have the money? And is the golf board of commissioners supportive of it? So that's a good situation to be in once we're looking at making improvements. And your work here is appreciated and it's valued. And we lean on you guys to help us give a direction of how we're moving forward. And these type of projects that you're seeing with the bunkers and the things that we're looking at making improvement is something that is easy for me to sell when we're seeing that we have the numbers that support it. And the good fortune of this is even with the irrigation system, I think this is good timing because we can show what the cost savings are if we do it the right way, that we're not going back in and have to go back and spend more dollars on something that we should have done before we put the system in. So I think it's a great time to be able to introduce this and say this is something that you're supportive of. So I'm big on teamwork. Try to empower the team to do what they need to do and then support them and get out of the way. So that's what I've tried to do even before I'm in the role that I am now. And I'll continue to do that. That's just who I am and whatever I can do to make sure the team's successful and give them what they need to move forward. And I think that creates an environment where people are willing to be creative, try new things, and not get stuck in this is the way we've always done things. And I think we've taken that approach, and I think Jesse's bought in and provided that for the team, and I think the team has bought into it as well. So I'm excited about the future, where we're going, not only just with golf, but as the park system as a whole. One of the things we're working on right now, we just closed on putting out a request for a proposal for a park master plan. So we had 10 companies from around the U.S. that are proposed that we're going to be doing a short listing on this week to look at some of those same things that Jesse mentioned, that do we have adequate resources? Do we have the right staffing that we need for? Are we investing dollars where we need to in the system overall? So that gives us a plan of how we are benchmarked against other similar sized cities and looking at their amenities and what we need to invest our dollars in moving forward to make sure we have a sustainable system that's going to continue to meet the needs of the community as we grow. So it's good timing, and a lot of those future CIP projects and things we have is going to align with that. So I'm excited about how we move forward with that. And a big piece of that is going to be community engagement and getting feedback from individuals like yourself that are users of the system to say, this is what we need. Not just me sitting in the office and looking out the window and say, hey, this is what I think we need. We want to hear from you guys to say, hey, these are things that we need to do moving forward to make sure we're sustainable and doing what we need to do for the city as a whole. So my contact information, any questions or anything come up, I know here we had an opportunity to talk in the process there when we were moving forward, and I'm always open to listening and seeing what we need to do to make sure we're making the biggest impact that we can to provide the best services available.
My perspective, like I said, I'm very happy that you assumed the position after our conversation. And I'm also really happy that we now have a director who's actually interested in what we do, rather than trying to ship us off into never, never land and do those kind of things, or all anti-golf for so many years. I really appreciate the voice in the offices that look at us as a positive entity within the organization. We're still a part of the park system, the organization itself. So it seemed like there for a lot of years, we kind of got to be the stepchild of that organization for one reason or another, which we don't need to go into. But I really appreciate your support.
Yeah. Anything that I can do to help, I know that I rely on Jesse to lead the team, and I'm going to help support him here what we can as we move forward. And I trust him to do the right thing. And if there's questions or things that we have, we get the answers to it, and we see how we move forward.
All I can tell you, he's a great leader, except he picks on old guys sometimes.
You're the only one.
Again, thank you guys for all that you do. It's appreciated. So.
Thank you, Reg. Appreciate it.
Anybody else have any comments, questions? I know Reggie took some time out of his day to come down on a bad night, apparently.
I can
They
see
all
out
be
that
here
window
well.
a minute ago. I can see it.
It's black, yeah.
Well, like the shades have, it's not that, it's the shade. You look out that window, it's light.
Hello, Ben.
Yeah.
So as a point of reference, I know when we had the storm about a week or so ago, we had over 500 work orders for tree removals. And that was before this incident this week. So it's probably double. So what we have. And so that team works really hard and gets started really early with helping support what we need to get done, along with our superintendents at the course to make sure things are taken care of.
We gave them a tough one today at Auburn.
Yeah.
Giant tree fell on that guy's deck. It's from the court, giant tree, so, yeah,
Where's that?
at Auburn on 114.
Well, I'll put a plug in for the park system and it's that they reduced your forestry division by person after person after person. And then maybe it's about time for them to look at putting some back on.
I'll say amen.
The reason I know that's because they did the same thing to the golf system. Okay, continuing on. Let's see. Michael, you got anything to say, bud? I know you had a hard day yesterday, but you got through it.
It wasn't hard.
I will say, I stopped by Sunday and Mike's out there and he's got a cart, he's got 47 cans of red paint on his thing. And I'll turn it into paint.
I'm right or I'll leave.
I had to do all that painting all by myself. Jesse helped out a little bit, ruined a pair of shoes, but no, it wasn't hard. It was good. There was no issues. So that's what I was happy about. So.
I'm glad it went smoothly for you. Didn't have this yesterday.
Yeah, that's a blessing because that wouldn't have been good. I don't know what they would have done.
Yeah,
He said, yeah.
I don't know what happens, yeah. I've never seen
Didn't
that.
draw names out of a hat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Mike. You've been here a year next week, I think, or something close to that.
Close to it. Yeah.
So I guess first year impressions, kind of things that's changed, things that you want to see. I know I'm throwing this right at you on the spot.
That's okay. Well, we've had quite a bit of changes, right? One, I had to get the pro shop up and going. So there was that there. And as far as the course, when I got here, so I got here in summer of 23, I came up and actually played Auburn Hills and looked around and the course was in fantastic shape. And then last year, when I got here this past year, things weren't so great, right? There was some winter kill and things like that I think was beyond anybody's control. But so far, as we've gotten into spring this year, it's much, much better. And that's a great thing. So, and then the clubhouse improvements that we've done have been nice. I know we looked at like things like new carpet and new blinds and stuff like that, kind of waiting for the right timing there, but I've enjoyed it. It's a little bit different for me I came from a resort property into the city entity. So it's taken me some time to get my feet under me, but I've really enjoyed it. So.
You don't need to say out loud, but I've definitely got a lot of compliments on everything. Okay, that's it.
It's all golf operations, so it's all very similar in a way, but yeah, it's been good being here.
Shop looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We do not have either Kent or Darren here, but we do have Colin and Ron here. Which one would like to go first?
Go ahead. Let me go. Okay, well, everything's been going great this summer so far. We've had so many new additions to the food that we're selling in the clubhouse. And for the first time in probably over 10 years, people are actually coming to the golf course to eat when they're not even playing golf, which is crazy. So, and we've brought on some new people with experience in the food industry that are doing a much better job to prepare that food. And then on the lesson side, all the group lessons have been completely full. Those are really popular, especially the ladies group lessons. We have, and then we've had lots of summer of discovery last couple of weeks. A lot of kids out here, as well as, junior golf seems like it gets bigger every year as well. And I can't believe how many kids, come through there every Monday and Tuesday. And, but other than that, just everything's headed in the right direction here. And then the visibility of what First Tee's done here really makes us look even more professional and like a, fantastic place to go play golf. So I'm just really happy with everything that we've been doing. So any questions or about what we've been doing? Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
All part of the tree.
That's just rain hitting the window.
The sideways rain.
It's coming down.
And and the other thing too is just, I mean, obviously it's been getting better through the years. My goodness, but the compliments, it's been pretty crazy, especially with all the new course conditions. Ron's doing a good job there. And okay, I think I'll stop talking, Ron. You can.
Not gonna run sprinklers tonight, in case you're wondering.
For what it's worth, I was just taking a call from a guy at 13th and Mosley, and he's getting pelted with big hail, he said.
Wow.
Okay, so, no other, like I said,
Wow.
Wow.
anyway, no, so yeah, big thing is like course conditions and a lot of it has to do with last fall and I approached Jesse. I mean, we had no overseeded with ryegrass for years. We'd back about 2012 quit doing that. A lot of it was because of dollars and transitioning to the Bermuda would require less water. But with 2 years in a row of the winter kill, it was like I said, I'm ready to overseed with rye. But there's still, I mean, there's probably I'd say 99% of the fairways, there's still Bermuda there. So it's kind of a combination where, you know, in a way it's not a bad thing. So it's funny how in golf they always talk about the Augusta syndrome. Well, 1st of April, everyone's watching TV and everyone around the country says, why can't my golf course look like that right now? Well, nobody's going, well, there's maybe a few, but you know, nobody's going to, but still when it's green, it's makes a heck of a deal. So that's been a big thing without a doubt. And, you know, and I'll be right. Yeah. The ryegrass, the perennial rye, I mean, come July and August, it's maybe not going to look so good, but it'll be like it used to be. The Bermuda's going to be thriving that time of year. So it does coexist. That's what we did for many years. And like I say, the reasons we transitioned to strictly Bermuda was the cost of overseeding and then, you know, the trying to use less water. But in most part, you know, as you understand, all the trees here, the shade, you know, it took a few winters for that to catch up to the shade in the summer and fall and in the winter. You know, when we had the bad winter kill, you could just go out and you can see it was spots that are shaded. So, and that was the thing. And I don't think we're going to go just start taking out 1,000 trees. So I think you know, we'll continue to overseed this fall. The amount I do or the rate I go, how heavy I seed will kind of be determined on how they look in August. But I think it's just, you know, you know, when we quit doing it, you know, saving $10,000 or $12,000 a year was a major thing, you know, but now it's easily paying for itself now. So it's like I said, what is the return on the investment? It's been well worth it. So. That's about it. Yeah.
Questions?
Yeah. And Mike mentioned something and somehow got the overflow on number 13 when we redid those a few years ago. Somehow that didn't get put in on the plans and it's kind of deteriorated. What I'm going to do is take it out. I've got a pipe, going to put a new pipe in. It won't, I mean, it would take about a 8-foot pipe to handle all the water all at once. So, I mean, where the cart path is, that's still going to act as dam, but I'm going to rip wrap both sides heavily and even probably grout it in the middle where the water runs through the most. But as the water comes up, it's still going to run over, but then there will be a pipe in there. Part of the deal was the original pipe had collapsed to where, you know, it wouldn't drain out at all. So now it'll drain back down to the level it's supposed to be. So I'll get that going pretty quick and start in some of the bunker work to save money off the original plan. A lot of ones that are just getting done away with, we're going to do that in-house. So we were able to buy a neat little haul trailer, found one used this winter, and saved a lot of money compared to a new one. So that'll help. Some of them all, you know, depend on, going to do the ones at the greens first. Those will probably be sod. If it moves further into fall, you know, some of them may just seed, which would save some money as opposed to sodding. But obviously sodding is instant grass. So I think the ones around the green that we're doing away with will definitely want to do that. So finally have a few more seasonal people. Had one kid that came back this week. Got another one. He was going to come in for an interview this morning, but I called him. We're going to do that tomorrow morning. And so actually got starting to get, got some numbers to where we can have time to do the extra things instead of just trying, at Friday afternoon, hope we got the mowing done, so. That's gonna help move that along, so. And we do have our full-time position that's been vacant since January. He started about a month ago. So makes a huge,
To get all
huge position.
full-time positions filled.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, man, since you've been here, we've been looking for those positions.
Staffing levels are much better.
So I know with that problem on the pond at 13, if you looked at what it would cost to put some kind of retaining or in there and put a valve on it so you can retain a couple of feet of water there. And
Oh, well, it'd be pretty simple. The way the others were done, there's just a pipe with a valve next to the drain pipe. So when the pond's full, actually it'd be lower than the drain pipe, but so you just open it up, then the water runs on down to the next pond, which eventually gets it to the irrigation pumping pond. So, yeah.
I think a couple of feet of water in that pond.
Yeah,
would
I mean,
help a little bit.
you never know. I mean, it's like, there's times and it's almost like a stroke of luck. It's like, well, we're at level, we're gonna have to start buying city water and boom, we get a rain. So you never know. It's like, well, if water in that pond could get us a couple more days. You never know. It might, because yeah, when we're buying city water, it's just to put a minimal amount of water on the golf course. It's gonna cost about $1,500 a night. So it's anything to avoid that. So
His perspective, when he says minimal, that ryegrass isn't gonna do very much.
yeah, yeah.
Can't blame, can't shoot that guy over there because of that.
Yeah, like last year, our August water bill was like $48,000. And, Mark, this just froze out there. And it was, hot and dry and no rain for quite a while. And I said, well, see what 48,000 gets you, doesn't really get you that much, so. But it does keep it alive. So when the weather does get better, it's still there, so.
Unfortunately, that ryegrass won't handle it, so.
Been hearing compliments all around town about the
Yeah.
golf course.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Good, thank you. Yeah, I'm very pleased with it, so it's.
Great job.
All right, Texas out, okay. Trevor's here. I haven't seen him sit.
He could not make,
Okay.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna head for my truck while it's not
Hey,
blowing sideways right now.
appreciate it.
All right. Thank you guys for all you
Thank
do.
you.
You guys are making a difference, being a voice for us. I gotta go get a haircut too.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
So I set a couple of ad campaigns that I wanted to show you guys. I think I showed you the 36 hole challenge last month. Show you how it's progressed so far. So kind of the graphic we've been using to push it. And then here are just a few of the analytics. Just over 333,000 views, which is great. They're reaching over 100,000 different unique people. And these are regional. So we're talking Wichita, we're talking Newton, we're talking Derby, and then west and east of us as well. We'd like to see the cost per click a little bit lower than that. About 25 cents is what we're kind of shooting for, so it's a little bit more per click. It's not terrible. And we also have the couples 2-day. It's only about 2/3 through the advertisement schedule, so it's not quite there as far as the link clicks and the views, but I think it's going to be up there just with the 36 hole challenge. Expecting just over 350,000 views. That converts to about, we're hoping, about 250 people get to the website, and then about half of those sign up to play. As far as the registration for all of our events, they're starting to fill up. 36 hole has, I believe, already more teams than it had through last year, and we still have another 10 days to push it. So far, so good.
everything we've done up to this point has filled up. And then everything he's talking about, we still have several weeks to fill it up. We're farther along right now than we were at this point last year, about a considerable amount on each event. So we had to not cancel, postpone the Folds of Honor. It's supposed to be Memorial Day. Now it's going to be July 4th. We did issue a few refunds, but we're filling the spots back up. So I fully expect we'll be at 36 teams for that again. Yeah, the marketing, I mean, from my standpoint, people, reach out to me for several things, and I've heard a lot of good comments with the marketing, the communication. People feel like they find out more what's going on, since Trevor's been on board. Because we have that full-time person dedicated to golf, so he's done a great job. And that's kind of what we've been talking about going forward. Of course, the events we want to push, but we want to make sure, it's like we have meetings. I said, what do you want to market? Well, we don't have capacity for much more. We're not trying to get more green fees. We're not, memberships are pretty full. They're doing well. So it's more just information. It's brand awareness. It's getting information out, communications out to the golfers that we have. And that's kind of the main focus right now. We have really planned on doing more entertaining type stuff. And we trying to get in front of the camera, trying to pull Mike out of the pro shop, get in front of the camera when there's 30 people waiting on him. It's hard to do right now. So we still want to get into that. I think having fun with our player base is a good thing. They like that. The feedback always good. So we're going to continue to work on that and make time to do those type of things to make sure the communication is the main goal that we're at.
I think, our perspective, I went to several meetings where they rate what they're important in the city, overall city profile. And because golf never really pushed into that, where we're now getting into where we're pushing those relationships more and more out to the public, maybe we'll pick up a notch or two. I don't know.
That survey's a little bit.
It's skewed.
It is skewed because you don't survey someone that plays golf, of course, they're not going to say it's a smaller sample size. So, unfortunately for us, council does use that as their kind of blueprint, and they should. That's the way they should do. But I wish we could. Golfers could have a little bit more input into that survey.
Some of the things that we're doing, though, cover it yourself. I mean, this may command me, but I'm listening to the radio while I'm working, and they advertise the golf appreciation day, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
We never used to have that kind of output to the public, although it ran about a week and a half after it was all over, because they kept running up, but that's a starting point, so.
I wonder about promotions and tournaments. Are we ever able to get any of the networks to come out and, give us a spot on Channel 3, 12, and 10?
We've done a few. Typically, I hate to say it, if there's not controversy, then we're not.
Exactly what I mean.
Yeah, no, we try to get on the golf appreciation, and their thing is we may try to come by.
Y'all were enough for fun.
Local
Yeah.
newspaper. Public relations, they think golf's a pretty bad priority, so they choose, unless he says there's controversy about it, they choose not to cover anything. They won't put scores in the paper for negative. Golf seems to be the lowest priority of every publication there is, so that's just something that via how we're doing it, you kind of try to overcome that.
And I think what we may have some opportunities if we push is that we tell the story of how we're getting more young people involved in the numbers that we have here with First Tee and what we're doing with our summer discovery camps that we have, exposing them in that generation to golfing. And then we sneak in the other things that we want to make sure we highlight as well. So we give them what they want to get here, then we give them the other things we want to make sure we tell in the process. So we can work on doing some of those things. And I think we have some good relationship with some of the local news medias that if they come out to some of the things we want, then we come out to some of the things they want. So.
Saw how fast his pen came up to make notes. Yeah, that's true.
Youth involvement.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, it's especially recently.
It's the youth involvement is massive. Yeah. You asked me one of my impressions, that's one of the big ones there.
Turned out right here.
Should have left when Ron did.
So you're Bob.
Yes, I am.
Hey, Marshall.
Mr. Willard Rice then.
I'm running on the guard, I do.
Now, it's right to your neighbor, then how come you didn't?
He's a member of.
I'm sorry, Mike, I can't hear you.
Last meeting, why did you name that?
Again, I'm sorry. All I can hear is the other conversation.
Oh, it is?
And 100 years, it's 96 years.
Yeah, I talked to a gentleman the other day.
Trying to see, I'm playing this neighborhood for you.
Say it one more time. Now I'm hearing nothing. Nothing. I don't know where it went, but you guys are gone. There, there.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, he said, since we had this meeting at this location just for you, why are you not here?
If you notice, I keep looking this direction. I'm looking out my window at a 35-foot tree that has already uprooted part of the root ball and is about to fall on my house.
Oh.
So I had a tree guy that promised he would come out today and take it down, and I've been waiting for him, and that was the call I took, was him saying he's not coming. So,
We're hearing a lot of excuses, but.
yeah, well, I'm sorry, but I may have a major problem in the morning when I get up and this tree is leaning on my roof, so.
Oh, boy. Well, hopefully not.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for adjournment. All in favor? Aye. Watch out for that tree.
I will, thanks.